Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at the move, business as usual, of course. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. So, we've been following Bitcoin through this move, right? Every step of the way, we had this accumulation period over here, which was essentially topped out at 10K. The bottom was at approximately 8,600, I believe. Okay. And we're just kind of doing a recap here. We spent a fairly significant period of time in this regime, 89 days or so. And then we pushed up. Okay. We pushed upwards and we came into this new regime. And it was basically bottomed at around 11K and topped at 12K. Now the issue, right, was this was an accumulation region, but we've always said during the bull market, and we're going to see it happen time and time again this market cycle, even if the bull market holds, we will see tests of the 20-week moving average, namely because if you look back during the last market cycle, even during the bull run, we always were testing the 20-week, and it was always accompanied or generally accompanied by a 20 to 40% correction in the price of Bitcoin back down to the 20-week moving average. This is business as usual, of course. And we saw that here too. So the same thing, we saw a 20%, 17% drop to the 20-week moving average. We said we need to hold this. We also said that if Bitcoin just goes sideways here, that's not good because the 20-week will overtake it, considering it'll be, including a lot of this data up here, which was much higher, and getting rid of some lower data points. Therefore, the price of Bitcoin needed to slowly and methodically move up, which is exactly what it did. This is exactly what happened. After testing the 20-week moving average for 6 or 7 weeks, we were there every week. I think I had a video specifically on the 20-week moving average test each week. A lot of times I would post them on Sundays at the close to say, okay, look, it's closing. We're at the 20-week. We're still holding it. This is great. During this time, it was best to focus on accumulating Bitcoin, and this was covered on the premium list into thecryptoverse.com. You can find that link in the description below. But I mean, it's also just looking at it when Bitcoin's testing the 20-week, accumulating Bitcoin. If you're going to accumulate crypto, tends to be the best bet. This is not financial advice, simply because if it falls below the 20-week, most alts will bleed. And then once it picks up steam, most alts will bleed against Bitcoin as well, just because the market is going to be watching Bitcoin. And until Bitcoin cools off, this is what the market watches. Okay? Business as usual here, nothing too crazy. Now, given this test of the 20-week moving average, one of the things we can do is we can just extend out our prior local top. Okay, so we'll just go here. We'll take the 10,000 local top and extend it out, and it became the bottom as well. So we came in bottoms. We had weekly candles that kind of held 10,000 as support, with wicks down to the 20-week moving average, which I think is great. It shows you how important the 20-week moving average is. It shows you how important the prior local top was. And it shows you how irrelevant, as we've said on the channel many times, the CME gap at 9,600 was. It shows you all those things, exactly what we've talked about on the channel, right? Looking at these prior local tops, stepping stones for Bitcoin on the way to a sustainable $20,000. And we know, based on historical trends, that the move to the prior all-time high will be a slower move up, but there will be periods of short-term bursts, right? I mean, this is just how crypto works. This is just how Bitcoin is. And I mean, we've seen this ever since March. These pretty impressive moves up. I mean, from here we saw a 30 to 40% move up, and then we moved sideways for 3 months. And then from here we saw a 30% move up, and then we moved sideways for a few months. And then from here we saw another 30% move up, and it's possible, as we've said before, it's possible that we just move sideways for a few months, and that's not the worst thing in the world if it happens. Now, of course, we'll be ready if something else transpires, but recognizing that so far the trend has been, a major move up and then sideways movement. and then a major move up and sideways movement, and then this one we tested the 20-week, right? So this one we did not test it, and then this one we did. So you can see that we'll extend this one out. So this became kind of our new accumulation range, right, between 10 and 12K. So you can kind of see if we just get rid of that one because we ended up testing the 20-week, you can see these are the stepping stones that we're taking on the way to a sustainable $20,000 Bitcoin, right? So the next regime could be, in fact, this could be the local top. We don't know yet. I mean, 13.8 could be the local top. Now, one of the things if we do is if we extend this, let's go to 13.8, 13.9, somewhere in that regime, and we just draw a line over for a few months. And let's change it to a different color now. So we'll go with pink. And then if we just simply extend our prior local top out, which is at 12K, maybe a little over 12K, the way I drew it here. Probably better to draw it at actually 12K because that's where it spent most of the time. Kind of like we had a similar pattern, right, where we had a peak, a second peak, and then a third peak, and the third peak was slightly higher. So peak, second peak, third peak was slightly higher. We had, another move back up to the top, another move back up to the top, go down, then sideways, go down. Well, theoretically go down and then sideways. This one broke up, this one broke down, and then now we've moved back up into a new level here. So let's extend this one out, and we're going to extend it all the way over. Okay, so in this situation, if we do go sideways for a few months, which again is a big if, given Bitcoin's volatility, bubbles can form at any time. Just like the 2019 bubble. We saw a 2019 bubble form. It went to 14K, but it got there a lot quicker. The move to 14K during the last short-term bubble was even more rapid than this one, which is also why a lot of altcoins bled against Bitcoin during that time period because Bitcoin just kept going up. But if now we see sideways movement in this regime for a few months, if we do, and it's a big if, I will concede it's a big if, then again, this could be great for altcoins. Now, if this does happen, right? Let's just take a measured move here. We'll measure this one. It was, 89 days or so. This one here was also approximately 87, 88 days, something like that. And then going from here over, this would be 89 days would put us beginning of January. So if we pull that back a bit to say this point, if we continue, say, a similar trend, we might be range bound for a few months. Okay, we might be range bound for a few months, and that's of course if we follow the trend that we've seen during these stepping stone games we've been playing, because we've basically just been slowly and methodically moving up here over the last several months. I mean, a lot of you guys remember the time, this reaccumulation phase. A lot of people called it a distribution phase. We said, no, it's a reaccumulation phase. A lot of people remember this one too. And then this one was scarier because we had the test of the 20-week. This one we didn't have a test of the 20-week before going up. Okay? It's possible we test the 20-week again. It's also possible we don't. We don't know. We just have to be ready for it. Now, if Bitcoin does test the 20-week, then what does that mean for altcoins? Well, it means they're probably going to bleed against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin just moves sideways for, week after week, month after month, then look for some altcoins to start to make moves. Okay? But they're not going to make moves, most likely, not any significant move until Bitcoin moves sideways and it's confirmed that kind of the volatility for Bitcoin has reduced back down. Any given day, you can wake up and see a 5 or 10% move of your favorite altcoin. This is irrelevant. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a sustained move, week over week for that altcoin, week over week. And the only way, I don't want to say the only way, there's going to be some altcoins that do their own thing. Newer coins are more likely to do their own thing. And then there's other coins that just have certain data trends that tend to stick out a little bit more. Monero was one. We covered Monero. We talked about the breakout against Bitcoin, even with Bitcoin testing the 20-week, and then that's exactly what happened. Now what we're looking for again with Bitcoin is If it can cool down, which I think is better for Bitcoin if it can in the short term, because if it can, it gives people to get accustomed to the new normal, right? It gives people the chance to get accustomed to what the new normal could be before moving up. Now, if we get something like this, where, you know, it comes back down and then it quickly continues to move up, and then let's say it gets super bullish and goes all the way up to like 20K or something, this almost assuredly would not be sustainable, okay? And we would probably come back down, right? So if you think Bitcoin is headed to 20K in the short term, just recognize that it most likely would not be sustainable in the short term if that were to happen, because we know that the move to a sustainable prior all-time high needs to take place. You know, it needs to be a slower move up, establish support, slower move up, establish support, and you just continue on. So then this one, you know, if this trend were to continue, then this would extend as well, right? Because this could theoretically be the next support level. And it makes sense, around 14K. Another reason why 14K is important, you know, approximately that level, is if you extend this over, this was our prior local top from 2019. So that's exactly where we retraced. We were doing a live stream last night talking about the importance of this milestone, just mentally speaking, to know that 2020 is theoretically, it's theoretically possible to put in a higher high than 2019 did, you know, because I mean, so far 2020, the high, or sorry, 2017, it was, you know, almost 20K. 2018 was a lot lower. I mean, 2018 was the bear market, so that makes sense. 2019, we had the bubble of 14K, and now we've run back up close to 14K, but the first test of 14K in a sense, or 13.8, 13.9, we did not manage to break through it, and that's okay. Bitcoin is still very much bullish. The 20-week moving average is currently, according to this chart, 10,659. It's going to vary depending on what chart you use. It can vary by as much as $100 to $200, I think, depending on what exchange and exactly which chart you're using. But just note that the 20-week moving average is just shy of $11,000. So Bitcoin still has plenty of wiggle room here. You know, it could continue to give up some of these gains and still remain macro bullish. Because remember, even down here, when we were testing the 20-week, we said that if Bitcoin holds it, sentiment can change on a dime and move back up. And that's exactly what happened, right? I mean, it held the 20-week and it changed on a dime and it moved back up. And so if that same thing were to ever happen again, you know, if we are range bound for a while, and let's say the 20-week moving average plays catch up, and if we test the 20-week again, it still can always move back on a dime and can shift the movement of Bitcoin. So the thing to look out for here, right? If you're focused on Bitcoin, it's business as usual to a large extent. We're still well within our long-term regression band, of course, that is fit to quote unquote non-bubble data, you know. So we're still within this regime. So in terms of that, it's business as usual. If you guys want access to the premium list, which is where I talk about what I'm doing, and you get weekly reports, weekly videos, an alerts channel on Telegram, a risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade. Remember, you can check that out at intothecryptoverse.com, and you get access to all that stuff. And a lot of people, a lot of people like to pay with crypto because you can get a discount. If you pay for 12 months, you get like a 15% discount. So it's pretty nice.